Hello, Corey Moore here again. Today I'm going to be giving you a demonstration speech of how to wax a snowboard with ordinary household items. I'd like to introduce my audience. Lovely wife Tabitha, Grandma Marilyn. I'd like to begin with some history on skiing. There's been evidence that people have been using skis to get around on for as early as 5000 BC. Ski is actually comes from ancient Norse. Their word for ski was skid, and all it means is a piece of wood. Modern skiing has been perfected in Scandinavia, and there's a recent development in the ski industry. In 1966, a fellow by the name of Sherwin Poppin came up with this idea for a monoski type design like a snowboard, but it was called the Snurfer. It didn't have bindings like a snowboard, but it had a lanyard. For years they had downhill Snurfer competitions, and then in 1977 a downhill Snurfer competitor, he invented what is now known as the modern snowboard. His snowboard actually had rigid bindings, the Snurfer didn't, and he went away from the lanyard that you used for balance. The snowboard industry generates over $12 billion annually, and 780 of that, it comes from the maintenance part of the industry. With that said, I'd like to teach you guys how to hot wax your snowboard at home using ordinary household items. First thing that we're going to need is a rag. You want to make sure that the base is nice and clean. Don't want any dirt on it, and it can't be wet. If it's wet, then that wax is going to bubble and it's not going to adhere to the base the way it's supposed to. Hot waxing is very temperature sensitive, and you need to use the correct wax for the correct temp outside. I have a warmer weather wax, a colder weather wax, and this is just a rub-on wax. You just rub it on, wait a couple minutes, and you can ride, but it doesn't last as long as a hot wax. We have a brush. That'll be used for cleaning the base more, and an ordinary window scraper. To start off, you want to preheat your iron and then invert it. Now, it's very important to have your iron on like a medium setting, because you want it hot enough to melt the wax, but not so hot that it's going to smoke. If it smokes, then you know that it's too hot. Just begin and move quickly, covering as much of the base as possible. And when you wax more, you're going to know how much wax to put on and not waste your wax, put too much on. Be sure to move your iron quickly, because if you don't, it can melt the bottom of your snowboard, and that's a service that a snowboard shop will offer. Is if you put a big hole in the bottom of your snowboard, they can take like a P-Tex candle, which is the same stuff that your snowboard's made of, and actually melt it with the iron, and then finish sealing it onto the snowboard with the iron. So irons will put a hole in your snowboard. So be careful, just melt the wax and move. That's nice. So shops, they recommend that after you're done spreading the wax, that you wait 2 minutes before you scrape it with a scraper. But I'm kind of lazy, and I came up with a better way to do it, and it actually kills 2 birds with 1 stone. What you do is you take a brush, and if you didn't thoroughly cover the snowboard with wax and with the iron, you can actually move that wax to places with that brush. And as you can see, it also takes off excess wax before you scrape. We have that step covered. We can move on to this final scrape. It's not necessary to get all the wax off. It'll still slide just fine. But if you want to have the least amount of resistance, make sure you take it all off. In conclusion, I think that you should hot wax your snowboard because it saves you money. You don't have to wait for a shop to do it, and it's fun and it's a good skill to have. So I like to reintroduce my audience members. If you could come this way. Thank you very much.